Dana.
Thank you, Lorraine.
So good to see you again.
Hello, everyone.
So, Dana, I know you know a lot of friends here in the audience, but just for some of the new folks, could you talk a little bit about, because you came to eDreams when the founder left in 2015, after the company had just went public, and I want to know what that was like, because it's a public company, and it's replacing the founder, and during an interesting time.
Yeah, it was an interesting time. The company had a lot of great strengths, and the founders really did a really great job in building, a company that at the time, when you showed in your graph, 2000, there were hundreds of companies, so to speak, but only a few survived, right? And the Darwinian principle and the founders really did a good job of putting it in there.
You're a survivor.
Right? So they did a really good job of putting it there. Me as CEO and from the board, we wanted to now move it to a new direction and build upon a lot of its strengths and address some of the other things that I thought were shortcomings of the company. And so that was, really focusing much more around technology and around customer and bringing the two together so that we can really provide really great and innovative products and services. And so that's really what we've been doing and building over the past 4 years.
Okay. What have you seen over those 4-year period, not so much for eDreams, but in the industry overall?
In the 4 years?
Yes.
In the industry overall, I see several things. So one is mobile, absolutely becoming more and more important. So even 4 years ago, mobile was really important to all of us, but it just wasn't necessarily a big thing of purchasing within Europe. In Asia, it's very, very different, where you have kind of 70 to 100% of bookings done on it. In Europe, still even today, it's only getting to the high 20%, right?
But you're higher than that.
Yeah, we're much higher. So we're in the 40s, right? 40% in it. And that was just one of the things that I did when I took over 4 years ago. I said we were going to be a mobile-first company. And so we're going to prioritize our development, our products, and we're going to lean into that and be able to build skills and capabilities that hopefully will be quicker and better than others. And so we don't want to slow down it, we want to accelerate it. And so that's really what we've been doing. But that's one big theme that I really see in the European landscape in 4 years and really changing meaningfully. The second one is definitely around data and kind of the data, being able to use it. Still even today, I know it's the buzzword of most companies to always talk about machine-based learning, but if you think about for many of us that actually studies algorithms, there's very simple linear regressions, kind of the simplest, there's Bayesian ones, and then there's the most sophisticated, right, which is what kind of Google would use in its autonomous self-driving cars, which would be kind of Q-learning, reinforcement learning. Yes, some people do in our company, Bayesian or linear regression, but we really focus on doing much more sophisticated in terms of machine-based learning. And so we do autonomous machine-based learning. Many of our teams actually do Q-learning or reinforcement learning, which would be the ultimate one. And some of our programs in the company actually do that. And so that is definitely a change from 4 years ago in the landscape. And I think we're still only in the very, very early days of seeing that promulgate out into the marketplace and offering really unique and tailored, individualized services to customers.
So I want to get into more detail with that, but I want to you mentioned the early days. So I just want to go back a little bit, because you were also with AOL Europe, talk about early days.
Yep.
Okay. Can you tell me a little bit what that was like?
Yeah, that was great.
Since I took everyone down memory lane a little bit. So
Yeah, because I actually started knowing really AOL in 1993. Actually, it kind of dates me. It shows how old I am. But I really believed in it, and I was really passionate about it. And more about the internet, right? And I thought that would be the winner company. At that time, there was many companies around in the early 1990s. And I really then saw that it was great power for it and great products and services that you could offer, not just AOL's, but many other ones in it. And so it was really good to be able to join it in, kind of in the early mid-2000s and really have a meaningful impact on it. And then I made the segue over to travel, actually, taking kind of my internet experience and my travel experience by joining EasyJet. So I actually joined, and I was the chief commercial officer of easyJet.
So that started your love affair with air.
It did, very much so. And that's why I really enjoy and love my position I'm in today.
Okay. So I talked about empires on edge, the theme a bit. So you're either an empire on the edge or both. So where's eDreams fit in?
I'm not sure in the categorization of it. Let me tell you what we try to do. We really do try to innovate. I'm not going to make the claim that we are the most innovative company or every single one of our products or services is the most innovative, but we actually have that demand. We have the demand of our teams. We have about 400 developers, and we obviously break them out into kind of 50 pods that we call them. You could think about them as scrums or many other types of names. And the demand is for each and every one is to be the absolute best and to not just do kind of incremental improvements, but really quantum improvements as well. And I'm not going to claim that every team does, but there's many things that we do that are quite innovative in there, that few, if any, OTAs and some things that no other OTA does on that. And that's really what the trajectory we're on and planning and trying to push forward to.
So give me some examples, because you talked about machine learning. Talk about AI. Are we talking true AI that you're implementing?
Yeah.
So give us an example
absolutely.
of how that is helping eDreams differentiate.
Absolutely. So we've been rolling this out for about the past 6-8 months, and we'll continue to roll out much more during the course of this year. But give you one simple example is on a mobile device. Mobile device, you can only see about 3 flight results. As opposed to desktop, you can see 10 or more. And so you have to be really clear and clever about what are the 3 results that you show an individual. And so we now use our autonomous self-learning algorithms to figure out what ones should be presented to which individuals. Now, clearly, the more data that we have about an individual, meaning if they've been here multiple times on multiple sites, if they may have logged in or maybe a registered user, it's easier for us to be able to figure out and get much more precise, knowing that, for example, you may want to travel only from this key airport. You may only want, morning flights. You may only want, let's say, a low cost as opposed to a da-da-da, et cetera, et cetera. And we would then have that as one of the 3 results in there. And our machines learn continuously about that. For that. And so that's just one simple way so that you don't have to spend the time trying to go through and sort through it. And even some people don't even find necessarily what would be the ideal combination because there are so many results. And so that's one way we use the machines. And so you would also get different results on a desktop than on a mobile device, the same one individual possibly, because you can show more on the screens. So that's just one simple example, but there's many examples through the whole system that we have in place.
So being really, really clever and innovative in terms of how you're serving up your product, your air product, and we'll talk about some other product as well. But do you feel like you're going up against other OTAs or up against airline? Like, are you trying to, when you are going to get the attention of the customer?
Honestly, we are going for the customer. I mean,
they have other choices.
Yeah,
why do they come to you?
They do, and that's why we really focus on, let's say, this technology. So we try to use our scale in a technologically advanced way. Literally, there's very few OTAs. In Europe, I don't know of any airlines that really do the type of level of machine-based learning that we do, and that level of sophistication at all. Our ability to be able to show exactly what the customer wants. And let's remember, millennials, we all want to see the market, right? The early 20th century kind of Henry Ford model of, I'll give you any color car as long as it's black, right, is so outdated, it's unbelievable. And so a customer really doesn't want to go to just see one airline, right? I mean, that is not today. And so you have to be understanding what customer wants and what customer needs are and be thinking about this from a millennial, from a technological point of view. So we will show the entire market, and we use technology to try to really tailor that for them. So price is an important consideration for customers. Seeing the market is an important consideration. Ease of use. We also focus very much on the entire travel experience.
So, right, how do you post-booking?
Exactly.
So how do you keep the customer after they've booked? Because now that's when many travelers will go direct to the airline, choose seats, ancillaries. how do you get them to come back?
Exactly. And so we focus on lots of things. Many other companies and competitors that you mentioned focus on that as a cost. And so you try to drive down costs. We focus that as value add to the customer and trying to make sure that they retain them, that we retain customers. And so let me just give you some examples. You know, one is, you know, many things, but one is, for example, many customers within Europe who do short haul, and they always wonder about what's the size of the cabin baggage that we can bring on the aircraft, and airlines are constantly changing that, and constantly changing also because there's money at stake when people don't get it right. And so we have simply an augmented reality app in our normal app that you can just click on it, point it at your luggage, and it'll tell you whether or not it fits that airline's cabin baggage size right away. So that's just one. Second is we cover 90% of all flights flown in the world. We're the only OTA to do this that gives the customers, if you book in our app, information, up-to-date information about your flight. So we will text you about flights, about gate changes. If you've checked in a bag, we'll tell you when it lands and what baggage belt it's been on. And that's for 90% of commercially flown flights throughout the world. Again, no other OTA does those types of things. But there's many other things that we do around the post-booking type of experience to try to bring customers back. And we see that our customer satisfaction has really gone up tremendously. We now rate #1. In terms of customer satisfaction and Trustpilot versus any airline in Europe and any OTA in Europe as well.
So you're seeing better retention?
And we do, we see absolutely. So we divide the business into what we call cheap channels and then more expensive channels, so to speak. So you can think about direct, SEM-branded, et cetera, and our cheap channels are growing up very significantly as a portion of our business.
That brings up, Kat, I don't know if you want to bring the slide up since Dana brought up marketing, but because I know we had talked a little earlier too about how you're putting kind of less into paid, right? Relying more on kind of organic search, your direct business. I'm assuming a mobile is playing into that. And you know, here's like just looking at SimilarWeb and looking at some of the changes in the organic versus paid. So how is that working for you? Because, I mean, obviously you have to look at what your competitors are doing. Obviously there's something to be said for paid search, right? Tracks a lot of eyeballs. So can you talk a little bit about this strategy and how that's working and also the role of mobile in that?
Yeah, so absolutely. So again, the mobile app we've really prioritized. And so some of these features and functionalities we really try to build for a mobile-only experience on there. So like, for example, the thing I talked about, the augmented reality baggage, you can only get that in the mobile app. You know, a number of things you can only get in the mobile app. And so what we find is that customers are increasingly shifting to our mobile app. And our mobile app is just growing and growing and growing. It's rated very high. So we used to be rated 2.5 out of 5 stars in the App Store about 3.5 years ago. We're now rated 4.7 out of 5 stars.
So that's really helped you build this direct.
And it really, really has.
And you feel like you could pull back on Google spend?
It does. It really has helped tremendously. There's other things that we do around having a longer-term relationship with customers, type of subscription and types of other types of things with customers that we find that really retains them much more. Some of the other services we find that they're coming back directly to us because they use much more. As we've been offering more and more products, now they don't just think of us for flights, so they think about us for travel query, right, so to speak. And so they are willing to come directly to us to see if we offer those other products and services, so we don't have to necessarily buy them through expensive channels as much.
Okay, so let's talk about, you talk about other products and services, and diversifying your portfolio is a big part of your growth strategy because you've been air-centric, it's been successful for you, but do you feel like you could, like there's a future for air-centric OTAs, or like, do you felt like the necessity was to expand into different segments?
Yeah, I saw it more as an opportunity, meaning we have very ubiquitous, strong brands. So in most of the main European countries, people really do know our brands, and the research that we have says very, very positive things about it. The second is that on average, individuals like us typically book a flight before they book any other travel product or service, before they book a hotel, a car hire, ground transportation, et cetera. So we have them at this great point That's why we've also been investing in customer satisfaction, the whole end-to-end journey. Customers are thinking much better about us, so we now try to cross-sell them or upsell them additional products and services. And they've been very receptive to it. Just to give you some numbers, so 4 years ago, we were selling, out of 100 flight bookings, we were selling about 15 to 20 additional products and services. Today, we sell over 70, 7-0. And we are still at the tipping point. I mean, sorry, we should easily be well into the double digits reasonably soon and going much further and further and further. There's huge opportunity for it.
And you're seeing impact on the business as well? Because like you said, there's expensive channels, there's inexpensive. So where does that fit? Like, how, is that moving the needle for your entire business now that you're growing? What, ancillaries and hotel? And
Absolutely, it is. And what we see is that as long as we provide a really good service, customers then are more sticky to us the more products that we actually sell. So if we only sell a flight versus we sell all these other products and services, we find that the repeat purchase rate is higher for us. We also find that cancellation rates, also parenthetically, are lower the more products and services we actually sell. Right?
So how do you do, so for building hotel, for example, right, where so many travelers are going to go, they go to booking.com, or they're used to going maybe Expedia for booking a hotel or other OTAs because they just haven't thought they've thought of you for their air and long haul air as well. So how do you change, are you looking to change that mindset, or is it mostly saying, no, if you're looking for just the convenience of buying Air Plus, we're here for you? Or are you looking to become a hotel supplier?
So the first thing is from the customer's point of view. About almost 70% of our customers that fly actually book a hotel as well. I'm not saying with us, but with someone, right? And so it's from there, that's a great opportunity for us. And so that's where we then go and try to cross-sell them or upsell them a hotel. We'll do that both in the path, in the booking path, as they book and pay for a flight. We'll try to also convince them to buy, let's say, a hotel. But equally, we also are investing heavily in the post-booking part of the process as well to get them to consider us to book a hotel also. Okay. And so we're finding very, very good and very strong take-up in the post-booking part of the process to do that. And remember, we know exactly what the city that they're going to, what the dates they're going to be there, how many days, nights. We know how many people. We also can know some of their preferences, their history, et cetera, et cetera. We know whether they're flying economy, business, et cetera, a lot of things and factors in there that help us to then make a more informed proposal to the customer that has a higher probability to be accepted.
And you recently acquired Budget Places. So are you looking for some more M&A? I mean, here we still have lots of brands. I just sort of slide with lots of regional brands that are still out there. And although you're looking at, of course, been growing organically, M&A must be part of your strategy.
Yeah, so first of all, Budget Place was a great acquisition. It really was, and it's been incredibly helpful on our hotel dynamic package part of the business and really getting us accelerating our plan on it. And we do look for other M&A. We believe we have a lot of good organic growth, but similarly, we do look for M&A also.
What are some of the things you were looking to?
We look for one of two things. We first look for technology type of ones, like Budget Places that provided us with a really good technology platform. So in many products and services categories, we're looking at good technology plays for that. Absolutely. Then outside of that, we also do look for scale, right? If there are some types of other competitive players that would be of scale that would make sense for us to acquire and to grow larger as well. So it would be one of those two types of dimensions of players that we look for.
So more to come.
Absolutely.
All right.
There is.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, Dana Dunne.
Thank you. Thank you.